For the mamas that your kids are struggling, I just want you to know there is light at the end of the tunnel. Hey guys, it's Heather at Homeschool Culture, and today I'm going to do a kind of just like a year recap, first semester recap, not necessarily just the curriculum, but kind of I want to really gear this towards moms who might have struggling learners and just some things that we are incorporating. If you have not watched me before, welcome. My name is Heather. I have a 14-year-old, almost 15-year-old 10th grader and a 10-year-old 4th grader. And here we are an eclectic homeschool. I love Charlotte Mason, but we are very traditional in some sorts, classical in others. And so we're definitely eclectic. I just got through doing the video for my daughter, so that should be out either before or after this one for her mid-year review. And that really focused on credits for high school and things like that. This one, I really want to focus on my son who does have dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia, or dyscalculia, how you pronounce it, and some things that have made this mama very, very happy that we have introduced and that are working for us. We went many years of me thinking, okay, maybe he has dyslexia, and there's definitely something going on with math because he was not grasping just like simple math facts early on. So I got him tested from Scottish Rite's Dyslexia Center in Dallas. If you live in Texas, you have access to that as well. And you just have to get on the waiting list and all that. It is a process, but it's very, very much worth it. They give you great feedback and they give you great things to implement to benefit your son or daughter, but also in turn benefits you, in my opinion. Okay, so that is what I kind of want to talk about. Everything is going really, really well. If you have not watched what he has taken, I would say go back and watch that first, which is the 4th grade curriculum, because I go into detail on all of that. But instead of just regurgitating all of that, I really want to focus on what is working. Everything's working, but what I am so happy about. He is in Matthew C. Is it Gamma? I think that's the one for multiplication. Matthew C. is a terrific math program. It is a mastery approach instead of a spiral approach, which I appreciate for my child who does have a learning difference is what I like to call it. He has a learning difference. And spiral is usually not one that works well with kiddos who have a learning difference when it comes to math or reading or whatever. Mastery is usually better. One of the things I talk about in my videos, my dyslexia videos on some of the tips and things like that we are implementing, I hadn't implemented yet, but I was going to implement this year. And so one of the things is he does not retain math facts well. But do we just keep them and honing on it until they get it? No, because that child might be 15 before he retains math facts, right? It depends on the child. So what you do is you give him things that will help him or her understand the concepts of math, but just because they can't retain that, and it has to do with short memory, and a lot more kids apparently have this issue than I knew, but it has to do with short memory. I mean, there's a whole lot more to it, but for this video, just know that it is more common than we know, and staying in place until they get it for math is not the way to go. So I have a math chart for addition when we were working in the previous 2 books, with Matthew C, and he would use those to do like multi-level math. So if it was 456 minus 279, he would be able to use that math chart to remember, or to be able to get those really quick rote memory skills. So he was still learning the concept of borrowing and of carrying over and borrowing and all of that, but he wasn't stuck on, oh my gosh, what's 5 plus 7. Still wanted him to master what is 5 plus 7. So I introduced him to, I already threw those away because he went through them, but Kumon's math or something like this, where it is just pages and pages of drill type math. Now, when I say drill, I don't mean timed. Trust me, we don't time it. But over the end of last year and this first semester, he has mastered his math facts. And I truly believe it is because instead of stressing about it and all of that, he has taken every day, he goes in and does anywhere from 20 to 35 math facts If they are struggling more, then I would taper that down some. I wouldn't make him do that many. So those rote memory skills that he has problems with, he is working on by doing it every day over and over and over and over again. But we're still moving on with multiplication, even though he literally just in the last month, I have noticed, has mastered his addition and subtraction facts. I will say this, addition happened first, so addition did happen first. So with subtraction, what we would do was I would set it up like an addition problem on the board just to get him to see that concept. So like if it was 11 minus 7, but I knew that he knew what 4 plus 7 was, then I would set it up, what is 7 plus blank equals 11. And he grasped it. So then his brain started doing that. Okay, I know, what this number and this number equals, so I should be able to do the subtraction. Some kids grasp that very, very early on and some don't. So again, instead of taking all of this time and only working on this, we moved on with multiplication, which he learned through song before he even knew what it was, skip counting through song. And so that helped a lot. So any mama out there that is struggling with multiplication, I bought the CDs from, what is that called? I bought the CDs from Classical Conversations, and there's a multiplication song. It might be on YouTube as well. And it is a blessing. It is a blessing because do I want him to eventually know that, 5 times 5 is 25? Yes. Right now, does he have to kind of sing the song in his head to get there? Yes. So what I'm going to do forward is kind of the same thing. We're going to move on, after we get through multiplication is division, but while he's working on division, he'll have a workbook similar to this with multiplication. And what I'll probably do is maybe do the multiplication, 4 days a week, and then still kind of alternate these 1 day a week just to keep this up to date as well, because he does struggle with just that simple rote memory. So many kids, and I don't know if I said this already, and if you've seen me before, you know it. I was a high school teacher and a high school counselor. And it was through high school counseling that I realized that dyslexia started with me, I thought, but I talked to my dad about it and he's like, no, I'm dyslexic. But I was never, I don't know if diagnosed was the right word, that when I was a kid, because it's very, very mild. And so and I never had issues with math. I mean, I was always somebody that has thrived at math. It was always my best subject. And so with him, it kind of like, threw me back, like, why is he not getting math? Like, I get that he's dyslexic, but how does he not understand the math thing? I don't know. I don't know why his brain is the way it is. But all I know is that I can give him help and I can give him the appropriate work so that he can overcome that. And so again, doing 2 maths for my kiddo a day is needed because he had to learn these, right? He needs to learn these. But he still needs to move on so he can stay up on math. And pretty much I would say for him, for a 4th grader, multiplication, if you look at like Matthew C, that's pretty on par. 3rd or 4th grade is the gamma level, which is multiplication. I don't get wrapped up in, if my kid's in 4th grade, but working on a 3rd grade book, et cetera, because I know eventually they'll get it. But with math, I want to try to stay on grade level as much as possible because I know eventually he's going to have to graduate and I don't want him to miss anything. Does that make sense? But so that is just what I wanted to talk about right here. I wanted to just give you hope. There is hope at the end, I promise. I know your kiddo might be have a more mild case of dyscalculia and mine might have more severe or vice versa. It is okay. You and your child will work through it. I'm talking about this today because I want you to see that there are ways to continue on grade level, but still implement something that I'm telling you. And I would definitely say try this method. Try this method. I will say this. Again, I just told you that whenever we were ending the school year last year and we were doing multiple digit, plus and minus multiple digits, I let him actually have a table that said, 4 plus 5 is 9. Like he had that table because it wasn't about him mastering those concepts at the moment. It was about him understanding, carrying and borrowing and all of that stuff to do multi-digit addition and subtraction. And so that is when I use that. We don't use that table anymore. Again, I'm focusing only on this, and I just want to reiterate it in case I'm missing somebody. So instead, we put that up, and we're just focusing on, 14 minus 6 is 8. I still give him this number chart. You can see that it is well used number chart. And at the very beginning of the semester, he used it every day. I rarely see him pull this out anymore. And it's because, again, he has mastered those facts. I know for some mamas that have, your kids don't have that issue, you're probably not even watching anymore. But for the mamas that your kids are struggling, I just want you to know there is light at the end of the tunnel. The same with reading. We do our phonics, but not only do we do phonics, I have easy readers that he is in the 4s and the 5s on the easy readers. Yes, they're small. I know as moms, you might think, well, that's 4th graders shouldn't be doing that, but that's the level. Like if you look at what level reading it is, and then you go look at, like you can go to scholastic.com and you can look up books and it'll tell you what reading level, and then you will see what reading level your kiddo's on. So if they are able to read these easy readers at the 4 and 5 level, that's a good thing. You don't have to jump them right into short chaptered books. You can keep doing those if you can find them. He loves nonfiction, so we do them as much as we can. Now, I am going to start potentially soon with some short chapter books like Magic Treehouse. There is one, we have a shark one for the Magic School Bus. And I'm trying to think what else. I think Flat Stanley, things like that. So I am going to kind of incorporate those as well. And so he is definitely not on grade level for reading for 4th grade, but I would say he's probably on grade level for 3rd grade. And so if I just continue working on those skills with him and require him to read, then he is going to build that brain power, work that brain out like he needs to, and he's going to be moving along quicker that way. And that is another thing. So I know some people, you just want to be like, well, he's dyslexic, so he doesn't have to do it. No. We still have to work out that brain. And that is one of the things that I love about homeschool is he gets individualized time with me every day that he potentially would not get in public school. That's why it's such a benefit that we homeschool, because he is dyslexic, because I know he would fall through the cracks. And I've talked about that before. So I'm just going to reiterate that to you mamas that you can do it. Even though I was a high school teacher, I was not trained for elementary. I was not trained to teach somebody to read, but through YouTube channels and lots of prayer, we've made it through, and he is truly excelling more and more every day. My husband, who was super, super worried, he's like, is he ever going to learn how to read? And it wasn't so much like, Mom, you're not doing your job. He was just worried for his son. And even he, my husband is like, oh my gosh, every day he's, we'll go to Home Depot or something and he's reading this and he's reading that. And so it will come. I promise you it will come. So any of you that just feel down and out about it, especially if you maybe have younger kiddos as well that are maybe your 4th grader right now is on grade level, but you have some younger kids that maybe have signs of dyslexia or something. I promise you, you can help them, and it can be done. It can be done. It just takes a little bit extra work. He has to do 2 maths a day. He does phonics and an additional reading, things like that. So, and that's okay. That is that is what his individualized homeschool experience is. And you definitely have to make it work for your child. So if you have any comments, put those down below. I love reading your comments. Is there anything that you use for your kiddo who maybe struggles in math or reading or spelling or whatever? Put those down below, because other people read comments as well. And I love being able to share that, because I'm just showing you what we're doing that works, but there might be other things out there that work for you. And I would love for you to share that with others. So on that, I hope you have a super blessed day and a blessed week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.